First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
I don't know if you saw the press conference yesterday, but or read the story. Mark Donovan from the Boilermaker in here this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
So the decision is, we know that the Boilermaker is going to be held in October, but what's it going to look like? And you came up with a couple of announcements yesterday. Number one, that the post-race party will be for runners, right? Registered, vaccinated runners.
Correct.
And that's a change because we really don't know where we are. And then with the variant out there, I think you got to create an event where people feel safe. And the only way to do that is to make sure everybody's vaccinated. And you pulled the trigger on that.
Yes, and the reaction from you heard you earlier, National Social Media Day.
Yeah.
Reaction has been overwhelmingly positive. I'm obviously kidding. This is America, 2021.
That's a very good point.
24/7.
I was
365 grievance airing.
Yeah, you're right. That's a very good point.
Well, there's your first when the comedy club opens back up. There you go.
Mark Donovan will be opener. So people are not liking it. I wrote an op-ed on this yesterday and said I completely applaud what you've done. I think it's the right decision. And finally, because I got the vaccination, when are we going to start having benefits to getting the vaccination other than just, well, you're safer? I'd like to know that I can do things because I'm vaccinated. And here's an example. Exactly.
Yeah. And if our runner base tracks 70% vaccinated, 30% not,
right?
If not for the vaccination, our announcement yesterday is we're having a virtual. We could not have a live event.
Yeah.
But for these people getting vaccinated,
right.
And those who are choosing not to expect to be a part of that, as that's who America is these days. So, we've got to make those 70% comfortable,
right? Yep,
and safe, and the community, quite honestly.
Yeah, because I'm not sure you'd get the 70% if there are a lot of people that just won't participate in things where it's mixed. Some are vaccinated, some are not.
Correct.
And I didn't look at the comments that we got on Facebook on my op-ed piece. Were they negative? I don't know.
So I'm a fascist, and I feel like Dr. Fauci a little bit. There's calls for me to be fired, and all those good things. And every year. We're in a lose-lose every year. We always get somebody's got a hair across for something, and
sure,
this is a biggie. And to be fair, we get it. We're empathetic, but we got to do the right thing for the organization, the community, and the runners.
And that's the decision.
That's
the fascism thing. I don't know that it correlates completely.
Well, we are Mr. and Mrs. Deep State controlling people's bodies.
All right, I see.
And so the concept of choice and option is kind of missing.
Well, the good news with the 5G chip inside the body, you'll never have to worry about cell reception again. So you should be good.
You got to sell the benefits. Right?
Yeah, you're right.
You're right.
I'm wondering, is any of this subject to change, whether the virus comes back strong in the fall? Is there a chance the race gets called off? Also, if it's non-existent in the fall, some of these requirements change.
So for the first part, that's actually a great point. We're now positioned with this decision that if the variant kicks in, and as you put in your op-ed, 99% of people being hospitalized and dying now are the unvaccinated. If it comes back in the fall, which if we remember last year, that's when we lost the majority of everybody. Then we're going to be in a great spot. The state's going to have to start reintroducing restrictions, and they won't restrict us because we're going to be
you'll be completely vaccinated.
Yeah, we'll be completely vaccinated. So that protects us. So, for us financially, this is a survival of the organization play here too. We're going all in and hedging against that.
Yeah.
And now the flip side of that is don't really see that for a variety of reasons. We're a race and we're a party. And what we've wrestled with is how do you bifurcate, or can you bifurcate the two? We could have gone with vaxxed and non-vaxxed. That would have been no party. and it would have been a 2.5-hour start line with separations and a 6-hour event with no party. And party's a big part of this event.
That's why you took the job, right? I mean,
for the party?
No, your job. I'm just kidding.
Yes, absolutely. I get to stand on stage with Bill Keeler in front of thousands of people, and I get a mic for a minute and a half.
Listen, the reality is, I don't think people understand that what the state really did is they took away all of the regulations and put all of the responsibility on entities like yours, and it's all on you now. There's no state saying you got to do it this way, but they still maintain their guidance in saying you still should be social distancing. You're still supposed to be doing all of these things. And oh, by the way, if somebody gets sick and dies, not only would that be horrible, but you could be sued for it if you're not following proper precautions.
Right, and interestingly, the state also, in their mind, they actually think that they're doing us a favor, and us being everybody,
right.
You know, big box stores or any store, restaurants, or wherever, by really shifting it to the individual.
Right.
So it's all on the individual. So the individual who's choosing not to get vaccinated is supposed to then mask up and maintain social distancing.
Right.
We weren't good at that as a whole.
Correct.
Now, you know, if I'm standing next to somebody, how comfortable am I feeling? And
to be honest, if you've chosen not to vaccinate, chances are you going to be that person who is going to mask up? Probably you weren't masking up before. If you're not into the vaccination, you probably weren't into masking up either.
Right. Yeah. That whole world of hoax and all those good things. Right?
Okay, so
on the after party maybe being open to the public or something like that, that's probably not going to happen. Or you say absolutely not going to happen?
Absolutely not going to happen. There's a lot of we could talk for 2 hours on everything that went into this, but the party could not be normal no matter what. So it had to be a controlled environment, which means it has to be in the back lot because it's the only way you can really fence that space. And that space has got capacity limitations. So we couldn't, we couldn't open that up beyond that.
The numbers we were talking about, the science that it's in the story, is 99.92% of people who have died in the month of May were unvaccinated. Almost entirely. As a matter of fact, here are the numbers, the actual numbers. 18,000 people died of COVID-19 in May. Still 18,000 people. 150 of them were vaccinated out of 18,000. That shows you the numbers. Then the problem is that you get stories. I think we had one just recently. Somebody who was vaccinated got the virus. That becomes a big story. But it really shouldn't because the numbers are so low of those people who are infected or become infected after getting vaccinated. It's low.
It also shows that it can happen.
It can happen,
right?
You're absolutely right.
We have 12,000 vaccinated runners.
Yeah,
they could get sick and they could die.
There's no doubt about it,
and that's on us.
Yeah.
We can't have that.
Right. All right, I give you a great deal of credit. I love when somebody makes a decision and they know it's going to be greeted with resistance, but you make it because you feel it's the right decision. That's a brave move, and I always appreciate that.
Yeah, well, one of my uncles that live locally here, what's right is right.
Yeah. All right, so again, the Boilermaker is going to be in October this year. Do you foresee next year going back to some normalcy? Do you see it in July next year? What are you guys talking about for next year?
I think the next few months will tell the tale.
Yeah.
Again, last year this time we were in great shape, right? Around here locally, and then and nationally we went crazy in the holidays. If we get to that point, if we can hold down, if we get more vaccination, get the vaccination right. That's the key. Tony Pacenti says it every day. Vaccination is the key to ending this pandemic.
Yeah.
And I think we are at the beginning of the end. If we can keep the momentum going and get to a spot. If that's the case, and barring any, God knows what out there that's unknown now, we have to get back to normal. And July 10th of 2022, 45th running, we're normal has to be the rule of the day then.
Yeah. The 45th running of the Boilermaker. Interestingly, the 43rd turned out to be virtual. People ran it on their own.
Yep.
But it still existed, which is you kept it going.
Yeah, and
somehow,
and for the folks who are not vaccinated, for whatever your rationale is, many of you did that last year. We welcome you to, we're putting it out there. We welcome you to do that again, and it's also out there there's a whole bunch of people who are not comfortable no matter what.
Yeah,
they're not coming out, and the virtual is there for them.
Whether people are vaccinated or not, you're right. Correct. I know those people. So, all right, interesting. All right, Mark, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Statistics also show that fascists tend to perform better in road races than really capitalists, communists, anybody, really. But so I know where you're coming from, man.
What about those socialists?
Yeah. The word that gets tossed around so much these days. All right, Mark, thank you so much. We appreciate it.